Ooh, he baby. Ooh, man, look here, man. Hey, look here, man. Look here. This is your boy. This is your boy, Big Nate, man, with the Real Underground Radio Station. This is Nate Logic, man. Listen, I know what we've been doing. I want y'all to be reminded of what we're doing on the Nate Logic Show. We are taking a stance to have real topics, real conversations about things that are going on in our community and how those things affect our community. From culture, we talked, had a real personal, one-on-one, intimate conversation with Epiphany last week. Shout out Big Piff. This week, the week before that, we sat down and had a real good conversation with Boss Marley. Well, this week, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I bring to you an esteemed educator, an esteemed educator. I like how they sound, how they kind of rolled off. An esteemed educator. And I'm excited about the information she's going to share with us. I'm excited about that. I'm excited about the information she's going to share with us, the learning that we're going to get, and all things about public education, public teachers, some of the challenges that school teachers are facing, some of the challenges that our local school districts are facing, and some of the challenges that we're facing in Pine Bluff, Little Rock, just Arkansas, period. And she's going to do a deep dive into these numbers. So I'm going to ask you all to go ahead and make sure that you like and share this. Tag somebody right now because the conversation we're going to have, I know for a fact it's going to be beneficial. It's going to help you guys. It's going to help somebody. And so this is my girl, man. Also, I'd be remiss if I didn't say this because,
Go ahead.
she is a member of Delta Sigma Theta,
You know it.
Sorority Incorporated. Hey, that's what it is. And I'd also be remiss if I didn't say this. The best come from where? The best come from the bluff, baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
She is from Pine Bluff, Arkansas. Sister Latoya Morgan. What's up, baby?
What's up? What's up?
Hey,
What's up?
man, how you doing?
I'm doing well, actually. How are you today?
Man, I can't complain, Toya. I'm just excited about um, the conversation. I'm excited about learning more about what's going on in these school districts, some of the challenges our teachers are facing.
Yes.
So I'm grateful, I'm excited, and I want to learn more about some of the problems and issues that they're facing. And not only that, how can we help?
And we can solve all of these issues.
And what can we do to solve them? Now, of course, we won't be able to solve them tonight,
No.
but at least we'll be able to get some insight on how to solve them. And I'm sure you'll be able to lay some ground and give some information and some ground information on that'll set us on a straight pathway to a resolution or even a solution in these cities. So,
Definitely.
definitely, you got some game for us, too?
Absolutely.
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 That's all right. I'm excited about it. So, Toya, tell me a little background. Where you from again now?
So I'm from Pine Bluff,
Ooh.
Arkansas. Okay.
What high school did you go to, Toya?
Watson Chapel.
Ah, Dub C in the house.
Yes, we
What's
are.
up,
Yes, we
baby?
are.
9-8 or 9-9?
Class of 99. The
9-9.
the last class of the century.
The last class of the century. I
Yes.
remember. I knew it was
Yes.
9-8 or 9-9. I knew it wasn't 97. I almost thought it was 01. So who were some of your other classmates? Was it the triplets?
No,
No, they way
they're
younger.
than me.
They way
Yeah,
younger.
Gerald Canada,
Gerald, okay, I know him.
Anthony Butler,
Okay, Butler, yeah, I know.
Marcus Hill,
Oh, Pooh,
Leslie Williams,
yeah. Is
Montana Bingham.
yeah, Kiki.
Kiki's a year younger than me.
Kiki, okay, so Kiki is 2000.
He's 2000, and
Okay.
he's doing awesome things as well.
He does, man, and Pooh as well.
And,
Shout out
yeah.
to the Cowboys, man. If you
Yeah.
remember Kiki, you remember me, you remember Pooh. These boys are Cowboys over there at Coleman. You remember that? Because I think you
Cowboys.
stayed off of Taft.
No, I stayed off of West 13th.
Oh, so you stayed over there in that area.
I
Then.
did. Yeah,
Yeah, well,
they're,
we used
they're
to
on the other
practice
side
it.
of 13th.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So Toya, what's going on, man? So Toya, before I interrupt you again, you gave us a little background information. Let's go a little deeper. Where'd you get your undergrad at?
At the University of Central Arkansas.
Okay, and then you have a master's too, correct?
Yes. So
What is your master's
a
in?
Master of Arts in Teaching, and I also have a Master's in Information Sciences as
Oh
well.
wow. So you would be in how many years of experience do you have in teaching?
In education, this is my 15th year. So 15 years.
15 years?
I had no idea that politics plays such a humongous role in this system. Had no idea.
Oh, but would I be remiss if I didn't, if I say, would I be wrong if I say you are a subject matter expert?
I'm an advocate.
And okay, so
You can
you're
say that.
you're an advocate for
I'm,
students
I'm
or
an
for
advocate
teachers?
for children. I'm an advocate for teachers. I'm an advocate for anybody that's not represented.
Mm.
I'm an advocate.
So you would say you're an advocate for the underrepresented people in the education system.
I am.
I like that
I am.
because I think so many people are in the education system and they don't have a good broad understanding of what's going on. And if you don't have an understanding of what's going on in the education system, you're going to do two things. You're going to keep bucking the system,
Mm-hmm.
or you're going to forget the system.
You are.
And so many of us are just saying forget the system.
And we can't do that.
We're letting our kids drop out. We're not helping our kids be the best that they can be. We're not helping as a community as a whole educate our children. We're allowing other people to educate our children
Waiting on
waiting
waiting
on
on who to save us.
on somebody else to save us
Mm-hmm.
while we're being uninformed,
Mm-hmm.
undereducated, because they're just processing us through the system.
Basically, and building more prisons.
They probably put more in prisons than they do in schools.
$50 million this year alone went into private prisons in the state of Arkansas. $50 million.
Hold on. $50 million went into private prisons.
$50 million.
Now, are those private prisons or state prisons?
Prisons.
Prisons, period.
Period.
So how much? So was that the whole budget, or was that just
No,
an addendum?
that was added, actually. So that happened earlier this year.
Okay,
$50
so
million.
so if they gave the
Approved.
prisons $50 million,
Oh,
oh, so I know
segue.
they gave the schools.
Great segue. Great segue.
Hold on, Toya.
What did they give the teachers?
That,
What did
no,
they give the educators?
I want to say this. They gave the schools, if they gave the prisons $50 million, that means they gave the schools $200 million, right?
No,
Oh, they only gave them $100 million?
absolutely not.
What? Okay. So they gave them $75 million. They gave the prisons $50 million,
Additional $50 million.
an additional $50 million on top of their regular budget. They gave them an extra $50 million.
And we have classrooms that are currently
Hold on. Wait a minute.
that currently do not have highly qualified teachers sitting in them. And
Wait a minute.
we're sitting up here having a discussion about investing in children, our future, instead of prisons in
But-
2022. Make it make sense.
So hold on. I want to get some clarity here because I want to make sure I'm not missing out. They gave the prisons $50 million, right?
That's what I said.
And didn't give the school districts, the schools of the state, no extra money.
Where is it at? We just asked.
They didn't give y'all no money.
We just asked
Now is this
for raises.
is the $50 million their original operating budget, or is that
No, that was additional money that the governor of Arkansas wanted to put into prison. That's additional $50 million that he wanted to put into prisons, probably because he saw our test scores.
oh my God.
So, test scores in the state of Arkansas.
Okay, so what were some of the test scores before COVID? Because COVID probably had. Do you have anything, any, and show the people what you're looking at. You ain't just coming up with numbers.
No, I'm not. I'm not just coming up with numbers. So, currently, I'm looking at because I was very interested in the whole process in the city of Pine Bluff when they were talking about combining schools. I didn't really agree with that.
Uh huh.
because I don't know a single school that has been taken over by the state
That's successful.
that's successful. So that bothered me.
So hold on, wait a minute. Now, when the state took over West Helena,
What happened?
they won. They did good, didn't they?
Did they grow? Did they grow? Did they show growth? So they might have grew.
Okay,
But I'm talking about, are you up there with some of the top performing school with these blue ribbon schools in our state?
but what about when the state took over Altamont? Altamont won state.
You talking about football, but what about reading?
Uh, uh, what about when they took over Dalloway? The state then did some taking overs, and they won something, right?
You want numbers?
Give me okay, because
So,
numbers tell the truth.
so numbers, data doesn't lie. So during the 2019-20 school year,
Okay.
Okay.
And what numbers are we getting here?
we're looking at the academic ACT Aspire K through 12 scores is what we're looking at.
Okay. The academic ACT Aspire.
Mm-hmm.
Those are those big tests that students take.
At the very end of the year. But throughout the year, kids take an NWEA test. Those are like quarterly tests that you take just to see where they should go or where they're going.
Now, I'm gonna be honest. How can we tell these tests are accurate, and instead these kids just ain't writing Nike checks on these tests?
Well, someone is typically walking around the room to monitor that, to make sure they're not just checking things off. That's not to say that doesn't happen, but
if you were teaching and doing what you're supposed to do and engaging these kids properly, they wouldn't feel, as these tests are so burdensome,
right,
and wouldn't feel overwhelmed and would
Right.
just take the test, right?
true.
So if the kids are just marking Nike checks through it,
They probably can't read it if they're just doing that.
they don't,
Or maybe they're having a bad day.
or maybe they just don't want to take the
Or
test.
maybe they just don't want to take the test.
But either way it go, if they had some confidence
Mm-hmm.
or felt capable of doing good on this test,
Or intrinsic motivation.
When you say intrinsic motivation, what do you mean?
It comes from the inside. No one has to say, I'm going to give you some candy for getting this, for doing this.
Right?
You do it because you want to do great
In everything that you're doing.
in everything that you're doing. So that is something that we have to teach our children, how to be intrinsically motivated. So to get them to that point, we do things extrinsically.
Okay. So so now we basically gotta prim and proper our kids to take these tests.
And that's fine.
But as long as you take them.
Well, as long as you take them. But we want to get them to the point where, let's say we have to do that for the first 2 years. By their third year, you should feel confident. You should know, hey, I know what I'm doing. I know how to read this.
Right.
I went over this in class. I know how to read a graph.
So I can do this stuff. Let me go ahead and do this and be done.
Let me just knock it out. That's how they should feel. But that's not how a lot of kids feel.
And feeling that way is a good product of what the teacher has done, or what the principal, what the school district has done. And
what the parents
and what the
prioritize.
parent has done.
Now let's
Correct.
just say that first now.
Because we
the
can't put all
child's
that on the
first
parent.
teacher, a child's first teacher should be their parents.
Hold on. Wait a minute, Toy.
Yeah.
Who is the first teacher now?
The parents.
Is
The
that
guardian.
happening?
Not like it's supposed to.
Yeah.
No, it's happening. It's happening in some places, but it's not happening like it's supposed to happen. No, it's not happening. I can say that right here. I can say it. It's not happening.
The parents aren't
supposed to
teaching.
happen.
They're not doing their part.
Some parents are not doing their part. Even if you can't do it, pay to let somebody else do it, or
Move out the way and let somebody else do it.
do something. Ask for help is my thing.
That's hard to do.
If you can't do it, ask for help.
Can we touch back on them numbers?
Yeah.
So you were saying, what were some of the numbers for pre-COVID
Pre-COVID.
on some of these tests?
So we're looking at the state of Arkansas pre-COVID. Literacy numbers was 45%, math 47%, science 40%. And this is from the 2018-2019 ACT Aspire K-12 literacy, math, and science scores.
Mm-hmm.
Pre-COVID. That was Arkansas. Now, depending on where you live, so we know that our schools in the Delta are really suffering. They're
Right.
suffering. So
Are these schools in the Delta suffering? Why do you think they're suffering?
it's multifaceted.
It's a
It's
complex issue.
it's a complex issue. I think that the capacity of teachers has to be built, and that needs to happen first because if you're teaching a subject area, you should know the content,
Right.
right? So everyone doesn't know the content, and then the second part of that is if we're always per se changing programs, changing reading programs, changing math programs, and you're not giving people the opportunity to dive in and read and learn
And develop.
and develop themselves,
Right.
that's causing the issue as well. You have, I mean, kids, they can't read.
Mm.
I mean, and
That's where that 50 million for the prisons come from.
that's it comes from those third grade test scores. They look at that
Wow.
to determine. That's a determining factor. Those are facts. But part of that is some of these tests are really not written for a certain population of people.
Mm.
We know that too, but we still have to perform because our kids still have to compete in a global world, right?
Right.
So regardless of if the field is level or not,
You
we
still
have
gotta
to
play.
develop our kids. They have to play the game. You can't just bench everybody. And you cannot tell me that across this state that kids cannot learn. I
As a whole, right now, Toy, what are our numbers for the state?
For the state, 2022, math for the state is 39%, science is 36%, reading 39%, and English, like your grammar, that's 64% for the state of Arkansas.
Okay, so that's for the state of Arkansas.
State of Arkansas.
Well, let's go to our favorite, our hometown, Pine Bluff.
Now, I do not have the data. Well, you know what? Hold on. I do.
So while you're looking, well, I tell you what. Instead of that,
No, I got it.
what
I got it.
I'm just overwhelmed with the idea and these thoughts that some of these numbers are like that. So when you say 39%, that means out of 100 kids, 39 of them
Can read
can read.
proficiently on their grade level.
Oh my God.
39.
So if I got 100 kids in here, that means 61 of them can't read.
No, that's correct. So if you're presenting grade level material to them, 9 times out of 10 they don't understand it. Like it's good to share that information, even though they can't read it. It's you still have to teach them on grade level,
Right.
but you also have to do small groups and work on those areas that they're struggling in, and share that information with parents. So parents, when you go in and they share the ACT Aspire information with you, don't just go for, oh, your kid is low, or don't just go for that. You need to ask questions. Okay, in what area of math is my child struggling? In what area of reading is my child struggling? And the school should be able to provide you strategies so you can assist your child at home. And I'm not talking about having your child sit on a computer all day, because that's not helping our kids.
Okay. So when you say sitting at home or sitting in front of a computer, just to, are we teaching test? Or are we teaching knowledge?
We should be teaching knowledge. So we're teaching both.
Okay.
So the average teacher does not teach to the test.
They're going to teach
They're
how
gon-
to do
they're
the
going to
actual
teach-
level skill.
Yeah, no. I mean, they're going to teach. A good teacher's going to do that. But you do have to teach. You have to do both, because it's like me going in to take a test and I don't know. I mean, I don't know French. I don't know how to read it.
Right.
So that's what the test is. I mean, when kids go in to take the test, that's the equivalent of what they're doing. So if I haven't shared certain words with you, certain vocabulary with you, if I haven't shared, word problems with you, I'm not going to know how to work through that. because I haven't been shown it. I hadn't had enough practice at that. It's just like driving a car. Do you just go and take your driver's test, or do you practice before you take your test?
You got to practice. You got to go to practice in the parking lot.
That's all I'm saying.
So these kids ain't having enough. The children aren't having enough practice time to prepare for a lot of this stuff.
Yeah,
and not just tests,
but it's a lot being shoved down the throats of teachers, right? So you
Right.
have all these things that you have to do, and so you have to pick out, per se, what you think is important. It's what you have to do.
And it's all put on the back of teachers.
It is.
Teachers only got the kids for, if you say, okay, for one whole day, a teacher might have a child for how many hours?
Probably 6.
6 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
So the parent gonna have that child for the remaining, what's that?
So we're gonna have your kids. So in the elementary school, 2:35 from 2:35. Well, from 7:35 to 2:35, I'm with your child.
And I'm responsible.
And I'm
You're
responsible
for
your
their learning.
child for their learning during that time period. And then if you have like an after school program, that may be, let's just say 5:30. So you literally get your child from 5:30 until they go to bed at 8:30 for 3 hours, 4 hours.
Some of them ain't even going to bed.
Oh, a lot of them are not going to bed.
Just
They're
keeping
up
100.
playing it. They're up playing the game
On their phone.
on their phone, and that needs to be limited as well. Like, let's stop putting things in their hands and just saying, "Here, it's yours. Have at it. Get away from me. Don't bother me," because that's what's happening.
Them phones is raising them. Coco Melon raising their kids now. That's what it is. What's the other fun little thing on the phones that these kids do? Roblox.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah.
Is Roblox teaching?
Well, in a way, I guess.
Not
maybe.
towards that test?
Not towards that test, no.
Toya, I'm astounded. Before we go any further, is there any information that you wanted to give us that you know that we needed to hear? I'm going to give you a few minutes to,
Okay. Yeah.
I'm going to just listen to what you got to say for a few
So I guess this is the first thing that I want to say. So in this state, we had a unique opportunity.
Well, about the teachers, we're definitely going to get there.
Okay.
Because I want to give that its own time.
I'm going to start with parent engagement then.
Okay.
How about that?
Okay.
So parent engagement. So we all know that schools that have high parental involvement typically are successful. Those schools are typically successful. So I guess my question is, why are parents not involved? Like, what is the hiccup? What is the problem? How can we help? What can we do to be more inviting from an educational perspective? Because you want to make people feel welcome, but at the same time, as a parent, you have to create the reality that you want for your child. You can't wait on other people to do that. So that looks like you being a part of your child's PTA.
Not only PTA, but not just handing your child a phone, right?
Not just handing your child a phone. It looks like you attending parent-teacher conferences, attending open house, coming up to the school when you can to volunteer. If you say, my schedule doesn't permit it, okay, what are you good at? What can you offer? Offer those services to your child's school. That's what parent engagement looks like. But that's not what we're seeing collectively. It's happening in pockets or in silos, but it's not happening like it needs to happen. But you'll come up to the school and curse the teacher out in front of your child.
And you ain't been doing nothing with your child all year long.
And you exactly.
But you gonna come up there and check on it. Yeah.
But you'll show out. And then that's what you showing your child.
And then quick to go to Facebook about you showing out.
Quick to do that.
Your child got more doggone me Robux and
And then you wonder why your child is misbehaving, because they model what they see.
You've taught them it's okay to be disrespectful.
You've taught them that. So let's correct that. Let's correct people the way that we're supposed to correct people in private.
I agree.
You don't have to do everything. Everything doesn't have to be a show.
Right.
Let's learn how to do things because again, after you've cursed that person out, that person still has to do what? Work with your child.
And you can't. And some parents will cuss the teacher out and think they can just take their child to another class or
Yeah.
take them to another school
It,
or whatever else.
and then when the same problem presents, then it's who? It's you.
It's always somebody else's fault. No accountability. No accountability. Just I take them to another school. Give my son another teacher.
Yeah.
Give my son another teacher.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, your son then went through 3 or 4 schools, 3 or 4 teachers, and you still ain't chastised and corrected your child.
But guess what? It's not your son. It's you.
So what?
It's not your son.
It's not the child. It's
you.
who?
It's you. You the teacher. Remember?
It's the parent.
Remember, you the teacher.
Who the first teacher?
The
Who was the
parent.
first? Oh.
The parent. The
So, but
parent.
they what gets me, Toya, I hate to make this. I'm not gonna make. It's the parents. It's the mom and the dad, and if the mom is doing it by herself, it's even more so the dad.
Mm-hmm.
Not being engaged, not knowing what's going on. I believe it's a village,
Because it's hard, and we need an entire village. We need an entire community.
right?
Like really. Like, so if I see that someone in my family is struggling and they can't show up, I'm going to show up.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just finding a person to assist you. So if you see someone having problems with their child, see how you can help or see what they need. That's the least that we can do. So we can't just keep turning our heads and acting like it's not affecting us, because if your child is on the right track, who do you think they're hanging around?
Right.
The kids making bad choices.
Yeah. That's who they
That's who has
that's who they like.
authority and
Yeah.
power.
That's who they like. That's who they want to be around. Normally, those bad choices feel good, Toy.
They do.
I ain't never had a bad choice that didn't feel good.
It feels good
At the
temporarily.
moment.
At the moment. At the moment.
Oh, them little Debbie cakes they be hidden. But boy, I sure wish I could have turned my head at a couple of them, Toy.
At the moment. At the moment.
Oh,
At
I
the
just,
moment.
hey, I get to the point now, Toy, I don't even go in the store. I don't even trust cause I know if I'm gonna go in that store, that bad choice, bad decisions. I just put my head down. I don't even want to look at them. It's easy to make bad choices, bad decisions, and then you get caught in that, and then your body start kicking out them endorphins
It starts
when you
liking
make
it.
those bad decisions.
Yeah.
Now those bad decisions are a way of life.
Yeah. You start liking it.
Yeah,
But we can change that.
as a community,
As a community, we can change that.
I wholeheartedly believe that. Toya, what do the numbers say? Have the numbers improved after COVID?
No. They are even worse.
Okay, so you told us what the okay.
So
Go ahead.
gaps were we already had gaps from the beginning.
Right.
So COVID did nothing but expand those gaps.
Made things worse.
It made it a lot worse, but teachers were supposed to act like we're still normal, right?
Mm.
But it all changed. We had to learn how to teach from a virtual platform, and that was not comfortable. That was not easy, and honestly, there wasn't really a plan.
It caught everybody off
It
guard.
caught everybody off guard.
Right.
So now you have people that have all this added stress because maybe I'm not comfortable with teaching and using technology from that perspective. I've experienced trauma. I'm scared. We had all these feelings.
All while dealing with it yourself,
Exactly.
because everybody else was going home.
Exactly.
Teachers was going home to still go to work.
Exactly. And then when we came back, they wanted you to do it, from the hybrid model, in person and virtual.
Oh my God! How were they expecting teachers to teach keep the attention of a?
I'm still trying to figure it out.
I don't know how. What was the plan for? How did y'all manage? How did you manage keeping the attention of an 8, 9 year old or whatever?
I did a lot
While
of
you,
things out of the box. I just did things outside of the box. I tried to make it fun. So I'm the librarian at my school. So I have a little flexibility in the things that I'm able to teach, and so I was able to do things outside of the box. So it was okay, I guess, for me. But I wasn't responsible. I don't have grades or anything like that. So I didn't have that stress. But I mean, teachers really, I mean, they really struggled.
it was hard.
It was hard, and it's still hard.
I work from home and it's hard to stay focused.
It is.
It's hard. It is hard to stay focused. So I can imagine how difficult it was for a 10-year-old or a
Yeah.
child.
Oh yeah.
I can only imagine because I still like I have the attention span of a 3-year-old.
Right.
I'm ready to play Robux or whatever the game or watch Coco Melon or what's the one with the trap music they be listening to.
Oh yeah, I saw that yesterday.
Hey man, they be turning up.
Yeah, they do.
Fortnite, all that. Oh man, my attention's so bad. I commend some of these teachers. Toy,
You should.
they don't get enough love.
No, they do not.
Toya, can you tell me what are the numbers for Palm Bluff? Meaning that what are some of the numbers? Where are we currently at?
Well, I can give you the reading. I can give you the reading numbers because that's the numbers that I do have. So, you have Watson Chapel School District reading 18.2%.
Oh my God.
Pine Bluff School District 13.6%.
Whoa, 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 whoa. 13? So that means out of 100 kids,
Almost 14 of them. Yeah.
out of 100 kids, only 14 children can read at the Palm Bluff School District. Is that any grade?
14%, that's across the school district. That's 14%.
Oh my God.
That's 14%.
That's hard. That's
hard.
failing.
It's heart wrenching.
That's heart wrenching.
It really is.
And there's so many different,
It's so many smart kids though.
so many amazing kids.
It's amazing. There are amazing children
We're off. And when I say this as a unit,
as a unit.
we're failing our children.
We are. So we're not utilizing things like our local libraries, like your school libraries. We're not using those as resources. Those are great resources that you should be utilizing. But we're not. And that's free, so you can't say I can't go buy a book. I can't afford it.
You can go to the library.
You can go check out a book.
Palm Bluff just built
A beautiful.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
It's a whole lot of money in that
It's
library.
a whole lot of money in that library.
All you got to do is take your child up there one day a week.
One day a week.
One day a week. You
One day
might
a
find
week.
a book you like.
You just might. Actually, you need to show your kids that you need to read, and your kids do too.
Even if they just reading a Eric Jerome Dickey book.
Whatever you reading,
Read some.
even if your kids are reading graphic novels, because kids are like, especially boys, they're into graphic novels. So just like make them read or allow them to pick out something that they want to read and let them read it, and then have them tell you about what they read.
That would help with those numbers, right?
It would definitely help. That's a simple thing that you can do.
Kids only like cell phones because they see parents in the phones. So imagine if they seen you in that book.
Yeah,
They're going to emulate what you're doing.
they emulate it.
If your child see you reading that book, it might even be a book on how to do weave.
Yeah,
Fellas, it might be a book on how to put rims on your truck or something.
exactly.
They're going to emulate it.
They are.
Daddy, what you reading? Here go you a book.
Exactly.
Mama, what you reading? Here go you a book. I got a book. We're going to sit here and read.
Exactly.
And then maybe you can read to me or I'll read to you.
Exactly.
I think the problem, though, Toya, is 14% of these across the board children are reading at failure level. What is it, before I ask this, what is it somewhere like in Northwest Arkansas or even Benton or Bryan?
Oh, it's higher.
I bet it ain't 14%. What do you think it is?
Well, let's go to the Let's go to the data and see.
Hey, because at the end of the data speaks. The numbers represent something.
They do. So we go somewhere like, let's go somewhere where it's happening. Let's go somewhere like Bentonville School District, 58.2%.
Oh my God. So 60 kids there.
Mm-hmm.
Out of 100 kids,
Yeah.
60 kids can read in Bentonville School District.
Yep.
60. Out of Palm Bluff School District, 14. They got us beat.
And that's intentional.
When you say that's intentional, what do you mean?
That's So what resources are being pumped into your city besides the casino that's doing what?
Ooh. Well, we just got a new library.
Okay.
But the parent has to make a decision that he wants more.
Okay. You're right. You're right. You're
The
right.
parent, not not anyone else. But how can the parent make that decision if the parent comes from that same stock?
That's a good question.
So at some point, we have to own our situation
We do.
and make a decision to do better. But they can't make a decision and own the situation to do better if they were never informed.
You're right.
That's why we control our own narrative. That's why we on the Real Underground radio station. That's why we with Nate Logic, baby.
You're right.
You understand what I'm saying? This is an opportunity for us to help somebody. It might not help too many people, but hey, listen. Our job is to plant the seed.
You're right.
Somebody gonna dig it up and eat it, baby.
I guarantee you.
Somebody gonna pick up what we putting down.
I guarantee you.
14% of the students in the Palm Bluff School District can only read. In the Bentonville School District, 68%.
Mm-hmm.
Woo!
You can come on a Little Rock. Come on a Little Rock. So in Little Rock, 29%.
Oh my God.
And we have
29?
29.
Oh.
And we have a consultant. Well, across the state, we have a solutions tree. Solution tree. So what problems are solution tree solving? Really?
Are they solving any?
I don't know. Not based off of this data. I mean, I know it takes time.
How long have they been running?
Been in some school districts for at least 3 to 5 years.
Man, I bet they pay. Hold on, that $50 million they gave the schools. That's what they gave the solution tree. They gave that $50 million instead of giving it to the schools. They gave it to the solution tree.
No, actually, I think it's up to about 67 million at this point that we've spent with solution tree. 67 million. $67 million.
Are we seeing the proof in the pudding?
I mean, you can go to the ADU website and look up the.
Whoever's doing it, solution tree, somebody doing something wrong. If we didn't give y'all $67 million and we only getting 14 students out of 100 that can read, a solution tree got to go.
It's teaching us the PLC process, and which is it's a good concept because it makes teachers collaborate. It makes you do CFAs. You'll hear it called CFAs, and that's common formative assessments where you assess your kids.
Oh, you deep digging now. Deep digging now, Toy.
Where you assess your kids, and then if the PLC process is working like it's supposed to, you do a CFA, you teach, and you set the time that you're gonna spend on whatever skill that you're gonna spend on it. You all teach. You come back and you give them another test to see what happened. Right? Come back together to talk about your data. Who did good? Who's struggling? Who's strong? What is the success of this? If you have to go back and reteach, you can go back and reteach. That can be done in small groups. That can be done one-on-one. That can be done any way that you want it to be done. But it has to be done. So if we're going back and we're reteaching, then we should see some success if we're doing that. But you have to have time to do these things. And so that's the complaint of a lot of teachers. And I mean, and it's true.
But here's the problem, though.
We do not have enough time. So that's why we need the support to come from the house, from grandma, from grandpa, from wherever
whoever
that
at
child,
home.
from wherever you are, we need that. But then my other question is, so what do you do? So I'm sure at home there are some people that also can't read. So
Ooh.
what are we doing about that?
Or if they can't read, they stand in a neighborhood that they really can't afford.
Right.
Huh? Hold on, wait a minute. Let me put.
Oh, go ahead.
So you stand in the neighborhood you can't afford. Somebody told you that you can go work somewhere and now you working 60 hours a week.
Hmm.
You didn't have what's called work home balance. That extra 10 hours you could have been pouring in your child. That 10 hours a week, that's 2 hours a day. You could have A, split that hour up, made sure they got up, got to school on time. B, at the extra hour, made sure they came home, started on some homework.
Yep.
But you working 70 hours because you want to live in Whitehall. You trying to keep up with the Joneses and you wondering why your child bringing home the grades they bring home.
Mm-hmm.
Are you busting your child upside the head
Right.
because they not learning at the pace that you thought they should be learning?
But you're not helping them either.
You not helping them.
Yeah.
I'm going to use me for an example. My mom and dad, my mom, God rest her soul, dropped out of school, had her first baby like at 15, 14, dropped out of school like at the 8th, 9th grade. My dad didn't graduate till he was 21 from Alzheimer. He kept going. he kept going. I ain't got nothing else to do. I will go to school. My dad told me, I think when I got to like this no joke. My dad when I got to like the 5th or 6th grade, my dad said, hey son, listen, that's it for me. From this point on, I can't teach you nothing else. You smarter than me now. But here's what I will do. I'll make sure you got all the school supplies, everything you need to keep going and to learn. And he also did this. You drop out, you get put out, you get suspended, I'm beating your ass. I'm beating your ass. And then he also did this. Not only did he do that, he said, these people can help you learn, son, every day. Yeah. Go to this after school program, and if I get a bad report from them, I'm beating your ass. My mom and dad raised 4 college graduates.
Wow.
My sister is working on her doctorate now at Baylor. Wow. She's a high-end exec for the federal government, some mess. My little brothers, all of us have found success. And it was based on my parents knew that they didn't know everything, but they put us in position. They supported us. My dad, I can't tell you all this stuff, but hey, these people over here can tell you, you go do what they tell you to do. If you talk back, you get them any problems, I'm beating your ass. Hey. Don't get him. That's what you can do as a parent. Am I right, Toya?
I agree.
If you are limited in your understanding, go find somebody that can. Are there resources for them that can help, Toya?
Of course.
Do you know any of these resources that can help? After school just right off. And if you don't know them right now, maybe you can give them back to me and I can, if anybody reach out.
I can give you a list, but most schools offer some sort of after school activity. And guess what? If your school doesn't, ask for it.
You can go to Boys and Girls Club.
You can do that, but you want it to be academic based, like more like an enrichment. So where it can be academics and enrichment. So if my kid likes to draw, I could do something with art, but I need a section of it where you're learning academically. So the Boys and Girls Clubs are cool if they actually have things going on, but not just so the kids can run around and develop more bad habits.
So you want to find an enrichment program. that's academic based.
That's academic based.
After school program. If
After
you are
school
limited in
program.
what you can teach them.
Exactly.
If you like my mama and daddy was.
Exactly.
After the 5th grade, said to get your little fat ass on. I can't teach you nothing else.
We have khanacademy.org. You can go log in, khanacademy.org. Google it. It has different things that your child can go on and learn and watch videos. Like we're using technology. Let's use it.
They can use it to do these filters. Change your whole body, your whole style.
Right.
Your whole face. Surely you can find some grade filters to help these
right.
kids.
Right.
Some.
And I do know that if you live in the Central Arkansas area, Cal's library actually has and I do not know the name of the site that actually helps kids with their homework, and it's like a live person that does that. You can use that using the Cal's Tech card. Your kids will get that from your school. That's another resource. You don't even have to pay for that. It's free.
It's free.
It's a lot of free things out here, but it's going to take you doing some research. So if you can scroll up and down on your phone, looking at what happened on P-Valley and whatever other show that we like to engage in, then you can scroll through your phone and find information pertaining to helping your children. Because we have to help our children.
Agreed.
And we can't give up on our children.
Agreed.
Like
100%.
That's not an option. Like you may not have the ideal situation, but there are people out here that want your kids to succeed. But we need you to aid in that process.
You have an obligation.
You have an obligation.
A moral
obligation to
ensure that your child
exactly.
gets this opportunity.
Exactly. We have to be better and do better because we know better.
I heard one of my favorite people, shout out to, I call her my big sister, Sean Strickland and Pastor Strickland.
Okay.
I seen something she posted the other day. She said, my children's ceiling, what did she say? My children's floor will be my ceiling.
Wow.
So what she basically was saying, in my interpretation, as far as I reach, my children are going to start off from where I left off.
Right.
Not from where I fell off, but from where I left off.
Right.
My child's floor will be my ceiling. So if you yourself are part of that 14%, don't let your child be that 14%. Now, part of making sure that your child ain't in that 14% is putting the right people in position to help.
Ooh, say that again.
Putting the right people.
How do we do that?
In position to help.
How do we do that?
You're the professional. First thing they need to do is pay them folk. Bottom line, pay them folks, man. Pay our teachers a livable wage.
And our paraprofessionals.
And pay them folks. You know your kid bad. And you want them folks to go sit up there in front of your kid. You know your kid been watching P-Valley, been listening to Lil Durkio. You know your child you know that your baby is. You know your kid fight, disrespectful, stink. And you want these folks to go up here and all they learning and get paid pennies. Pay them folk, because if you don't pay them folks, they just gave the prison system an extra $50 million to lock your child up.
Oh, yeah.
Toya, tell me what they need to do. How can they help? What? I'm just gonna listen. Cause pay them folks.
So they wouldn't pay us because we voted certain people in office.
Or we didn't vote.
Or we did not vote.
Because we was listening to somebody that told us voting is stupid.
I don't know who told you that, but it's not, because if it was so stupid, they wouldn't work so hard to stop you from doing it.
Who?
That part. They wouldn't work so, like, our rights, voting rights are like getting ready to be on the table. They're already on the table again. And it's 2022. It's not 1964. It's 2022.
And we still begging to vote. If they looking for, of course, they're not gonna make it a blatant chop in your face. So when you got people who telling you voting is stupid, those are they part of that 14%. They part of that. What did we say? 14%. So they part of the other. What number we looking here? 14 minus 100.
86.
They part of the 86% of people who can't goddamn read. Hey, I'm damn near in that 14%. I just realized. So I'm not in the 14%. Like I'm in that 16, 17%. I'm dumb smart. That's what I is.
Okay.
I'm dumb. I'm dumb enough to be smart.
That's what you are.
That's what I is.
That's what you are.
Well, here's the thing. I may not be the smartest person in the room, but I'm smart enough to realize that I'm not.
Oh, that's awesome. Or you know how to put others. You know how to put smart people around you. So
talk about it, Toya.
I'm friends with people that are smarter than me. Like my friends are smarter than me.
I don't want to make this about me real quick, Toya, but what I can tell you about old Nate, I realize that I'm not going to be the smartest person in the room.
And it's okay.
But I bet you I can find the smartest person in the room. And when I find the smartest person in the room, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to use my platform to bring a Toya Morgan on to talk about some stuff that I know she understands more than me.
I appreciate that.
Toya.
I appreciate that.
What they need to do with these teachers. We before you go, we got to vote, right? That's essential. That's why we are now.
We have to vote. So in this upcoming session that will begin in January, there are going to be some things affecting us. You need to be aware. You need to know what's going on. You need to be engaged.
This current not the current legislation,
right.
legislators in the state,
right?
They voted to give the prisons an extra $50 million, and they voted not to pay teachers any more money.
So what does that tell you? They do not value education. You want to keep Arkansans uneducated and illiterate. That's what it tells you. Basically, keep them dumb. Basically.
Because if they become part of the 86% and learn more,
we'll run the state.
Ooh. Pushing them out of power.
Exactly.
It's easier to run a dummy,
right,
than it is to run a smart man.
It is.
So if I know you barely can read, it's easier to run circles around you. Throw you some information that you couldn't really decipher, but because of your pride and your ego, you're not going to try to decipher. You're going to look at the person who is smarter than you and say, well, he dumb. He and now your kid's being taught by the janitor. No shame for the janitor, but instead of having a qualified, highly educated professional there, now they're just looking for anybody that'll stand in front of these kids.
Any warm body. That's what it's going to get to. Because teachers are walking out in droves because we are not supported the way we need to be supported. And we're not appreciated the way that we need to be appreciated.
Do you know, Toya, how many teacher shortages we're looking at right now?
I'm not sure. But I mean, I know a lot of school districts have several vacancies open, so you might need to check on that too right now. Make sure you check on that.
If your school got a bunch of vacancies, what is that a sign for?
Destruction. Failure.
Because your teachers probably they
can't find a teacher.
No, the teachers at them schools probably come from. Imagine that you go to your child's school, and that same McDonald's worker that just cussed you out is now teaching your child. The person who was in charge of fixing the ice cream machine at McDonald's is now in charge of your child's education? The dude, the security guard, the security guard at Family Dollar is now in charge of your child's education.
It's a warm body.
It's just a warm body. Your child is not going to get an adequate education because teachers are leaving in droves.
And you cannot lower the standards.
Oh, Toya. Oh.
So that's good enough for our kids and your kids, lowering the standards. So when you go to a surgeon, do you go to the person that has the success, or do you go to the person that just started?
Look here, I know you. Better yet. Well, I ain't gonna say this. I say this. You want to go? You want me to do your hair? Do you want Nate to do your hair?
No.
You don't want Nate doing your hair. No. I don't know nothing about it. But because you can't find nobody else, you don't know who else can do it.
I'll do it.
I guess I ain't got no choice but to do it.
Yeah.
Same concept for teachers right now.
Same concept. Same concept.
Hey, look here, JoJo. I know you ain't did nothing in your life but dump fries. Look here, Mr. Peter D. I know you ain't did nothing in your life but hang chickens on line 10. And no shame at none of these jobs. But will you come teach Lapuki? Because we ain't got nobody else to do it right now. If we would have voted, if we would have put the right people in position, we would have teachers who felt confident
and appreciated.
And we wouldn't be in this situation.
We wouldn't.
Tell me if I'm wrong.
You're right.
Toya, we've been on here for a good hour.
Okay.
I know it's some information that you want to lay down. I ain't gonna interrupt you. You got a free minute, some time. Give us what you need to give us, Toya.
You're not going to interrupt me at all.
Nothing.
So I'm a librarian, so I'm going to push this. So they're trying to ban certain books, and it's happening in Arkansas, but it's not like happening like it is in some of the other states. It's not as drastic, I don't think. But we need to make sure that doesn't happen because kids should be able to read whatever they want to read. We can't deny them from doing that, and we also can't erase history. So it's coming. So when there's not a Black History program at your school, it's because they're gonna try to pass a law.
They gonna get rid of the Black History.
They gonna get rid of. Oh yeah, all that. Everything.
No.
I mean, I'm telling you, it's coming. They want to. They want it. Some people want it to be a certain. They want it to look a certain way. They're not being inclusive. They're not including the truth. So they're trying to prevent our kids from learning their truth. And it's everybody's truth. It's the world's truth. They want to erase that part. We can't do that. We have to make sure that does not happen.
I got one more quick question.
Go ahead.
These charter schools look fun and amazing. They look fun and amazing. I thought about signing up myself for a charter school.
Really?
How they get it? How they got it so dope like they got it?
So let me just put you up on this. So we're all familiar with the Walton Foundation, the Waltons. The Waltons want to privatize education. Okay. So if we can make sure these scores continue to look like they look, why do we need public schools? Ooh. So then we can get that money because it's a money business. That's why you see so many charter schools pop up everywhere, and they pop up, and typically they don't last more than 5 years. Typically. But it just depends on where you are. Now, in some places, you will see charter schools that are successful, but they should be when you have parents that care. parents that are willing to invest in their kids and go the extra mile for their kids. So you're pulling like those performing students basically from public education, and then you're a lot of them are going to charter schools because parents think that's a better way, a better option. And I mean, for some it may be, because that's a parent's choice, but they get so many waivers on a lot of things. And so a lot of times if your kid is having issues in their classroom, so let's just say first day in October, we'll see a lot of kids jumping schools, going back to public. But that's because charter school has already got the money. And that money is $6,899. But it stays at that school
Per student,
per student. $6,899 per student
per year.
per year. And if your child has any disabilities or anything, IEPs, those students get a little bit more money. If your student is in a ALE class, alternative learning environment, those students get even more money. So if more money is being pumped into these students, then more services should be provided. So if your child is in ALE, they need therapists, they need counseling, they need like real help.
Right.
So they can come out, because they still have to do what in the real world? Live in it. No one cares about your IEP on the street. What's that? So we can't allow people to just pass our kids through, and we can't just sit back and watch it happen and act like, well, it's not my kid,
Oh well.
because that might be the person taking care of you.
Toya, I am so grateful for
Invite
you.
me back. Invite me back.
You can do this, Toya, huh?
Oh yeah.
Is it something that you definitely want to touch on?
No, I think I've kind of said everything that I need to say, but I just want to remind parents that I'm sorry if you didn't have a good school experience. Like, I'm truly sorry. But don't allow that to affect how you are engaged with your own child. Like right now, like make it better. If you have questions, ask your questions. There are no stupid questions. There are no dumb questions, because you need to make sure that you are involved in your child's education and that they know that you prioritize it. Make sure they're reading. Read to them. Talk to them. Just do what you're supposed to do. They're your kids.
You got to.
Love on them. Affirm them. Tell them how smart they are. Don't always whoop them. I know Nate got a bunch of whoopings, but whooping is not always. You can talk to them.
Yeah, they started talking after.
After a while, they started talking, but talk to them. I'm not saying don't discipline your kids, because yeah, you need to discipline your kids,
Discipline is a communication.
because some of you, yeah, but just don't give up on your kids, because their lives matter. It hurts when we lose kids. I've lost so many students this year. Like, I'm like, man, what did I say? What did I do? What didn't I do? Like, I'm asking myself all these questions. When did it go wrong? Like, that shouldn't be normal.
Right.
And it's becoming normal. So look at their cell phones, look at their social media pages. Like, you have to be in their business, because they're your babies.
And if you don't protect them,
Nobody
if you ain't in their
will.
business, they gonna be somebody's business.
I agree.
Hey, this is your boy Big Nate. This is the Real Underground Radio Station. This is my sister Latoya Morgan, man. I am so grateful for you to come on here, Toya. You got an open door. Just let me know when you want to come talk.
I will.
Open door. I am so grateful for you to give us this information. This is all a part of us controlling our narrative, us telling our story, us being able to say, hey, this is what's going on. And I'm prayerful that something was said that's going to brighten somebody else's path, give somebody else some information on what they need to do. Toya, they can they can reach out to me and get in touch with you,
They can.
and we can find out ways to do this and make things better for our community.
Yes.
Latoya, any parting words?
Well, I told my brother I was gonna be on a radio show, and he told me to give him a shout out for his birthday. So, Ramon Morgan, happy birthday!
Shout out Ramon Morgan, happy
Shout
birthday,
out.
baby! Yeah. Hey, this your boy Big Nate. This the Real Underground Radio Station. This the Nate Logic Show. Hey, tune in, baby, right here, right now. We got the 870 show coming on. My brother Billionaire Bobby, my boy Iceman Buddy.